And we're back with this week's debrief. One game every week. And today we are debriefing the U.S. Women's National Team's game against South Korea. The U.S. Women's National Team won 4-0. This is the beginning of the Emma era. Era. I did it. Era. This is the beginning of the Emma era. One thing that was very clear is, we had heard a lot about, there was a lot of work that went on with Emma in these few days leading up to this game in the classroom, a lot of brain work, and really kind of, I think, adjusting to her style of play, her demands, and what her expectations are for the team and how she wants them to play. And it was very clear that on the field, the team had a identity. They had common language. You saw players looking around. You saw players pointing, and you saw players nodding. There was one time during the game when a South Korean player, I think, went down when Emma Hayes had an opportunity to bring the team together. And you could see everybody engaged. You could see them bring them together, not have players kind of solving things for themselves. She was the boss. She was making the decisions, and she knew exactly what she wanted. And she was asking her players for things. And I think that was very clear through the body language, both of Emma Hayes' to the team, but also it was really encouraging to see everybody's body language on the field to each other. You can tell that there's a bond. You can tell that there's a common language that's starting to develop. Look, these are early days, but this is essential to be happening quickly because the Olympics are literally a blink away. If you've been watching some of the games with me for the last few years, there's been a few things with the U.S. Women's National Team that I've just been kind of banging about, and that is the width. It is amazing how much easier the game of football is when you use the whole field. Because for a long time, I feel like the U.S. Women's National Team has been playing a very narrow game of football. The second thing is having a dynamic attack. You can't have just your best players on the field, right? There's a level of chemistry that has to happen in terms of understanding how players are going to play within themselves, play within the system, play within each other. There's chemistry, there's personality, there's tendencies. And then there's also, I always say this, there's hierarchy. There has to be humility in teams. When I looked at the front three, and I had been saying this, everything felt very individualistic for the team. That any one of the front threes could do any one of the things, and when it was their day to do it, they were just going to do it. That's not how a really well-balanced, really cohesive team works. But what I saw and what I really liked is that you saw Trinity Rodman and you saw her being very disciplined to keep the width. She was a true winger. You never really saw her coming inside to the pocket. She kept high and wide. And on the other side, you saw Amal Pugh coming into the pocket a lot, dropping into seam two. You saw Jenna Nighswinger getting really high, really wide, getting around her, getting crosses. And that for me shows what I prefer to see in football, which is actually a more fluid attack. I thought our attack has been so regimented in a way that is honestly just one-dimensional over and over again. And of course, all of these players are super talented and any moment could go off and do something individually brilliant. But I don't want to be individually brilliant as the U.S. Women's National Team. I want to be collectively brilliant. Quintessential U.S. Women's National Team DNA, set pieces, in particular service. And I mean quality of service consistently. And what I think this team has been missing is just security in their service and consistency and quality. And we saw that Kat Macario service. First off, Kat Macario will put her up there with the elite of people that can cross the ball. I put her in that category of Megan Rapinoe, who for so long served the box. And I would say Mal Pugh, her service on the goal for Tierna's second goal was exceptional as well. Having people that consistently serve the ball well is essential for the U.S. Women's National Team, who has always been dominant on set pieces. So this game marks the beginning of this month, this Pride Month, and go gays, in particular, go Tierna Davidson, who rocked it on Pride wearing her rainbow jersey, scoring 2 goals. Could have even been going for a third. And for folks that have been watching the U.S. Women's National Team for a long time, we all know that you can't win without the gays. So obviously having Tierna Davidson on the score sheet was phenomenal. And the more, the merrier, and the more, the winning. Okay, so big hot take. I think Sam Stubbs should make the Olympic roster. There's a couple reasons. I think that there are players that do well in the in the NWSL that aren't right for the international game. And I think there's players that do well in the NWSL that I can see translating super well for the international game. And I think Sam Stubbs' game translates super well for the international game. I was thrilled to see her get a call up. I think when she put on that jersey and ran out on the field, I thought she looked the part. What makes a player good internationally is, well, one, there's a specific style of play. You have to have the ability to play under pressure. You have to be extremely durable. You have to be a mental monster. You have to suffer and you have to endure. And then there's a mental aspect of the game. And this is being able to read the game. And there's a distinct amount of technique, tactics, and just overall grit and nerve that goes into being an international player that I just feel like I see. What I would ask you all is do you think that Emma Hayes' X factor is the ability to utilize individuals' strengths and to be able to then figure out how the team's going to play? I'm just curious. I'm still learning here, but I'd love to hear your thoughts. So if you're loving the debrief as much as Kristen is in the background here, like, rate, subscribe, and keep following. And also check out the watch list within membership. We will be watching a second U.S. Women's National Team against South Korea all together. So jump into membership. There will also be 2 special guests, 2 U.S. Women's National Team players. I'm not going to give away their names, but one rhymes with mayo, and the other one is not an ant, but a grape. See you there.